There's three major ways that we finance commercial property. The first way is hard money lenders. That means private money for acquisition capital, usually combined with seller financing. You're going to see that in my presentation here, how both of those combine together. And then when we fix the problem, we take it out with long-term financing, which means we've either got a building ready to refinance, like I just did down here in Lake Wales, or we got a project ready to develop. Either way, we're going to turn that expensive hard money into cheap soft money to finish the project out or permanently refinance it. And all three of those are going to be needed in your quest to do commercial projects, because number one and number two is acquisition money. Number three is takeout money. You can't be buying and selling houses without spotting commercial opportunities. Commercial won't take much time. It's just a matter of seeing something with vision that you can learn, and then moving that something forward. And just for the record, every building used to be on a piece of vacant land until somebody had the vision to see the building on the land. You're sitting in one of them. So I'm going to go through here and tell you how we do it. I'll give you some examples of what we're doing. Every project that I've got, student is involved in it, student gets a piece of it. When the students that are involved in my projects have become millionaires, some of them have become mega millionaires. You only need one of these deals for the rest of your life, guys. You'll see in a minute. You'll see in a minute where one of these deals is all you need. Commercial advantages, big profits. When I say big profits, I'm not talking about 5 figures or even 6 figures. I'm talking about 7 and 8 figures. Understand this. Every single property that I am doing, somebody in one of those chairs brought to me and is now a partner worth millions of dollars. And I like to teach with real bona fide examples, stuff that we actually are doing, not that we made up to impress you with. This is a project brought to me by a young man named Jeff Ritchie. This project is in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's 36 acres of raw land. And he saw it was for sale, and a broker had it listed. He goes out to the property, and there's a little old bitty sign on the property that says for sale. The broker's effort to sell the property was to put it on LoopNet and put a little bitty sign on it, which was covered with trees. This raw land was obviously best used for condos. There's condos beside it. There's houses beside it. It overlooks a beautiful view of the river. I mean, anybody could see what it should be used for. The seller was asking $625,000, and they wanted all cash. The realtor told us it was worth $2 million. We believed him because it was zoned for condos. Not approved for condos, couldn't build condos yet. The city hadn't approved a site plan yet, but it was zoned for condos. Is that at least one hurdle in the right direction? Yes? All right. And then we went out and had it appraised for $1,050,000. Houston, we have a problem. There's no lender in the world going to lend 6 1/4 on a piece of raw, unimproved land that's only worth $1 million, hard money or soft money. So I knew we couldn't borrow all this money. So I told Jeff, I said, Jeff, we got to go back and restructure this deal, and if we don't get it restructured, we're out of here. So I said, Jeff, go back and tell them we'll give them their 6 1/4, but with $250,000 on a down payment, and she must take back a $375,000 second mortgage. And if she's not, and that's subordinate. We're going to go get a new first. She's going to take back a second. She's subordinating to our new first on her property. She's agreeing to do this. And by the way, why is she agreeing to do it? There's 250,000 reasons I see. Subordination is my favorite technique because it's nothing more than getting the seller to take back a second mortgage, allowing me to get a new first mortgage on their property to supply the cash to buy their property for the down payment. The seller is participating with us to take her land, turn it around. We do all the work. We take all the grief. She just simply has to wait on the rest of her money. We're getting her some now and the rest later. Every commercial owner or broker knows it takes time to turn these projects around. We got her to accept that offer. So we wrote it up, and then we went out and got a $325,000 first mortgage on the property from a private lender at 12% interest with 4 points. We closed the first mortgage on this raw, unentitled piece of land. Out of that came what? The $250,000 for the seller and some closing cost. So $75,000 was left over, less closing costs, the day we bought the property. Does everybody understand? We borrowed the money to buy the property using the property as collateral. Hello. Got it? We borrowed a first, seller took back a second. Now, the first mortgage position was $325 on $1 million appraisal. Were they in good shape? Okay. So you see why the loan was easy. Hello? The loan was easy. All right. So now, what did we do with the money that we brought home from the closing is the next question. We had an engineer draw a map like that. Okay? In other words, the engineer sit down at the drawing table and took the outline of the property and placed the 124 condos on the property and submitted it to the city for approval. 5 months later, the city approved the property, and now it is entitled. Entitled is a nice word for developers. It's like Christmas. When we bought it, it was appraised at $1 million. As soon as we got it entitled, it appraised at $7.4 million. Now, what did we do to increase the value from $1 million to $7.4 million? It was hard work, man. We wrote the check to the engineer. That's all we did. We got it approved, and our intention was to sell the land. That's what we got into this thing to do from the beginning. Sell off the land to a builder and make a ton of money, and Jeff gets his 25%. And then Jeff calls me one day. He says, Ron, wait a minute. He says, look, why aren't we building these condos? I said, Jeff, we ain't condo builders. He says, I know, but Ron, I can build these. We can get these condos built for $100 to $110 a foot, and they'll sell for $250 to $300 a foot, a square foot. I said, well, that math sounds good. What does that mean in dollars and cents? He says, it means we can build it totally out for about $40 million and sell it for $100 million. I said, that math I understand. And I know all you just heard was, God, somebody's got to go borrow $40 million, right? Now watch how this works. Because nobody's going to go make a loan application for $40 million. What we did is we got a $4.5 million loan to develop the land, which is done. That's not even done. But now it's a subdivision with roads and waters and sewers and electric. When we got it appraised for $11.5 million once we put the horizontal structure in, meaning water, sewer, electric, and roads. Everybody with me? That's horizontal. From this day forward, horizontal means everything but buildings. Vertical means buildings. So we had an appraisal that says worth $11.5 million once we get that done. It says worth 7.4 now. So we borrow 4.5. Lender lent us 4.5 million, and yes, I personally guaranteed it. So we borrowed 4.5 million, low loan to value, that paid off all the underlying debt. Remember the mortgage to the seller? Remember the mortgage to the first mortgage, the 325? It all got paid off. And then the money got put in escrow to do this. And for a year's worth of interest, so we don't have to make payments on it. So now that's all done. And now the process begins of selling condos and building them out. And here's how it works, guys and gals. The condos are 2 and 4 units. So we go get contracts. Let's say it's a 4-unit. We go get contracts on 4 units. Then we go to the bank, and the bank lends us 100% of the cost of building those 4 units. 2 of those contracts pays off that debt. Hello? Got me? At the same time, it takes out a piece of the underlying land. So we're building 4 units with 4 contracts in hand, like this is risky or something. If 2 of them close, the cost of building the 4 is paid off, and a piece of the land's paid off. So do we got to go borrow $40 million? Well, yes, in little pieces till the project is over. Borrow, paid off, borrow, paid off, borrow, paid off. They really just issue you a credit line and you go right on down the line. But you don't build the condos till you got contracts. So, Jeff is a 25% owner in that project. How many of those do you need per year to surpass your current income? And by the way, this property had been on the market for 2 years, and thousands of people have driven by it every single day. And I want that to sink in. Thousands of people had an opportunity to buy this land before Jeff got to it. When Jeff got to it, he was fresh out of class. He had the vision. He had the vision that those thousands did not have. By the way, when he sat out in this room when I first met him, dumber than a box of rocks. He's learned a lot since. But he started with nothing. He has not a dime in this project.